They say the past never dies. It just hides in bloodlines. Stay with me. Because what began as a scientific discovery will become a war between bloodlines, and the truth about who Amara, a beautiful black brilliant woman, really is will shake the throne of the Alpha King himself. This is how their story begins. Theron stood on the rooftop of his skyscraper, Hale Industries, the human world's image of wealth and innovation. But beneath the steel and glass was the true empire, the hidden Lycan's court, bound by ancient law and silent fear. The Alpha King's jaw tightened as the wind brushed his hair. The city glowed beneath him, unaware that monsters walked among them, monsters sworn to protect them. He could sense the shift in the air, a new scent, soft human, electric, like the first breath before a storm. His wolf stirred for the first time in years. Mate? He clenched his fists. Impossible. The mate bond had long gone silent. He'd rejected the goddess's mark long ago. But fate doesn't care about disbelief. Fate only waits for the right blood to rise again. Across the ocean, New York City, Dr. Amara Johnson didn't believe in fate. She believed in science. She believed in formulas, DNA codes, and answers that could be seen through a microscope, not in whispers of destiny. At 28, she'd already mapped genetic mutations linked to rare blood disorders. Her mind was sharp, her confidence unshakable. But lately, her dreams had turned strange. She saw forests she'd never been to, wolves with golden eyes, a man's voice calling her name in the dark. Sometimes she woke up crying, not from fear, but from longing. Like her heart missed someone she had never met. She brushed it off as exhaustion until that morning when she received an invitation that made her pulse skip. Dear Dr. Amara Johnson, you are invited to present your research on genetic evolution at the Hale Foundation's private medical conference in London. Your work has attracted our highest attention. She almost ignored it, but something deep inside whispered, "Go." And that whisper felt like home. As Amara stepped off the plane, the cold air met her skin like an omen. She had no idea that her every step was being watched, that the man waiting at the end of her path wasn't just another admirer of her work, but a king whose soul had been waiting centuries for her scent. Amara pressed her palm against the taxi window as the city blurred by, neon reflections streaking over her dark skin. She had dreamed of this city since childhood, but it didn't feel like a dream tonight. It felt like a warning. Her phone buzzed again, another reminder from the Hale Foundation. Driver will deliver you directly to the residence. 9 p.m. sharp. Security protocols apply. Residence, not hotel. She frowned. What kind of research sponsor used words like that? Still, she couldn't shake the curiosity. The Hale Foundation's donation list read like a billionaire's fantasy. Cutting-edge medicine, technology, even humanitarian relief. Yet, somehow, almost no one knew who truly ran it. The driver spoke for the first time. "First time in London, miss?" "Yes," she said softly, "and I already feel lost." He smiled in the rearview mirror. London likes its mysteries. So did she, until one started watching her back. The car turned off the main road and into a private drive hidden by towering iron gates. The instant they opened, the air changed, thicker, colder, charged with something that made the hairs on her arms rise. The mansion came into view, a vast stone fortress lit by golden lamps, ivy crawling up its sides like veins, old money, old power. At the entrance, 2 men in black suits waited. They didn't look like staff, they looked like guards. One sniffed the air faintly, then opened the door for her. "Dr. Johnson," he said, voice deep, almost reverent. "Welcome to Hale House. His Majesty will receive you in the East Hall." His Majesty? She froze. Was that a joke? Before she could ask, the man turned and led her through doors taller than anything she'd ever seen. Inside, the mansion pulsed with quiet grandeur, marble floors, flickering chandeliers, portraits whose eyes seemed to follow her. The scent in the air was strange, pine, smoke, something primal. Then she felt it, a presence, heavy and magnetic, before she even saw him. King Theron Hale stepped from the shadows at the top of the staircase, tall, broad-shouldered, a face carved by centuries of control. His eyes, an unnatural gold, locked on her the way a storm finds its lightning. Amara forgot how to breathe. He moved down the stairs slowly, each step measured, deliberate. "Dr. Johnson," he said, his accent smooth but ancient, the kind that belonged in history books. "You've traveled far." "Yes," she managed. "You must be Mr. Hale?" A corner of his mouth twitched. "That will do." When he extended his hand, her skin tingled before their palms even touched, and when they did, the world shifted. The lights flickered, the chandelier swayed. Somewhere deep inside her chest, something woke. She pulled her hand back quickly. "Static," she murmured. "Sorry," but his gaze didn't soften. "Not static," he said quietly. Recognition. He led her to a grand dining room, lit only by candles, a dinner set for two. "Was I the only guest invited?" she asked, uneasy. "Tonight, yes. Why me?" Theron studied her like she was both answer and question. "Your research on bloodborne immunity. You may have found something my people need." "My people?" she repeated, raising a brow. "You mean your company?" He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that hides danger. "Something like that." He poured wine into her glass himself, the motion smooth, precise. "Tell me, doctor," he said softly, "do you believe in evolution?" "Of course." "And what if evolution had a secret branch, hidden, waiting?" Amara laughed nervously. "You mean like superhumans?" "Something older," he said, "something the world forgot to name." For a second, their eyes met, and she swore his irises glowed brighter, like molten gold catching the candlelight. Her pulse raced. He noticed. His voice dropped to a near growl. "Your heart. It knows me." She stood, trying to hide the shake in her voice. This was a mistake. I should go. But when she turned toward the door, it closed on its own, slowly, firmly, with a click that echoed through the room. Theron didn't move. "If I wanted to hurt you, Amara, you'd already know." "How do you know my first name?" He took a step closer. "Because I've spoken it before you were even born." The air between them vibrated, something ancient recognizing itself in her. Her mind said run, her soul whispered stay. He stopped just inches from her, the faintest trace of his cologne, cedar and storm, pulling her deeper into confusion. "Who are you?" she whispered. He leaned close enough that his breath brushed her ear. "The one who's been waiting for you," he said, voice low, rough, "for a very long time." Their eyes met again, and she felt her heart twist painfully, as if an invisible bond had just tightened between them. Amara stepped back, trembling. "You're insane." "Perhaps," he murmured, "but even insanity bows to the moon." He looked away, trying to restrain the beast inside him. "You're tired. Rest here tonight. Tomorrow I'll show you why you were brought to me." Before she could argue, another servant appeared, guiding her toward a guest room that looked like something from another century. When she was alone, Amara sank to the edge of the bed, staring at her hands. They still tingled where he'd touched her. "What is happening to me?" she whispered. Outside, beneath the pale moon, a wolf howled somewhere in the vast estate, deep, mournful, calling for something that finally answered back inside her chest. Morning came softly, like a dream that refused to fade. Amara woke to the sound of rain kissing the windows, the air heavy with the smell of old books and roses. For a second, she forgot where she was, until the walls reminded her. Hale house, the mysterious invitation, the golden-eyed man who made her heart misbehave. She sat up slowly, touching the spot on her wrist where his fingers had brushed her the night before. It still burned, not painfully, but like warmth she couldn't shake. There was a knock. "Come in," she said. A woman stepped in, dressed in a black uniform, carrying a silver tray. Her features were sharp, her movements too graceful to be human. "His Majesty requests your presence for breakfast," she said, voice smooth as glass. Amara blinked. "You keep calling him that. Is it some kind of title?" The woman's eyes flicked up, unreadable. "It's not a title, ma'am. It's what he is." And before Amara could ask what that meant, the woman was gone, silent as a shadow. The dining hall was brighter in daylight, though no less intimidating. The walls were lined with ancient portraits, men with eyes too vivid, too alive to be normal. Theron sat at the head of the table, dressed in black, sunlight glinting off the faint scar along his jaw. He didn't rise, but his gaze met hers the instant she entered, as if he'd been tracking her heartbeat through the walls. "Did you sleep?" he asked. "Barely," she replied, sitting across from him. "I kept dreaming about wolves." He smiled faintly. "Wolves have always been good judges of character." Amara gave a small laugh, trying to hide her nerves. "So, Mr. Hale—" "Theron," he corrected gently. "Theron," she said, feeling her tongue tremble slightly over the name. "You said last night my research interested you. Why?" He reached into his jacket pocket and slid a folder across the table. Inside were blood reports, data so classified she hadn't even published it yet. Her breath caught. "How did you get these?" "I have resources," he said simply. "You've been studying a mutation in human DNA that enhances healing and strength. You called it lupine factor. Yes, it's rare. Less than 1% of the human population has it, but it's dormant, almost inactive. Not in my people." Amara frowned. "Your people?" Theron leaned forward, his voice dropped low, quiet but heavy with truth. "You've spent your life chasing science, Dr. Johnson, but some things can't be studied under a microscope." She stared at him. "You can't seriously be saying—" He stood suddenly. "Come with me." He led her through long corridors until they reached a hidden elevator behind a tapestry. It opened with a soundless click. They descended in silence. When the doors slid open again, the world below was nothing like the mansion above. Massive halls carved in stone stretched into the distance, glowing with torches. The air smelled of earth and pine. Dozens of people, no, beings, moved through the tunnels, their eyes flashing faint gold when the light hit them. Amara froze. "What is this?" Theron's voice echoed beside her. "The true heart of my empire." He walked ahead, his stride commanding, his presence magnetic. "We have existed beneath this city for centuries, hidden, watching, protecting." Her pulse quickened. "Protecting what?" He turned to her, his eyes glowing faintly. "Ourselves." A distant howl echoed through the cavernous halls, deep and haunting. Amara's skin prickled. She tried to steady her breathing. "You're saying you're—" He stepped close, so close she could feel the warmth radiating from his body. His voice softened. "Not human, Amara. Not entirely. Neither are you." The words hit her like thunder. "What did you say?" He reached out, gently tracing his thumb along the inside of her wrist, the same spot that had burned since last night. "Your scent," he murmured. "Your heartbeat. The way the air bends when you walk. No human carries that." Her pulse raced. "That's impossible." "Is it?" For a moment, the space between them thinned, his eyes locked on hers, raw and searching, the wolf inside barely restrained. She should have pulled back, but she didn't. Something ancient stirred deep in her chest, an ache she couldn't name. He caught the shift in her scent, the sudden rise of warmth, fear, and something far more dangerous, desire. His jaw tightened. "You don't know what you're doing to me." Her voice trembled. "Then stop looking at me like that." "I can't." He turned away sharply as if fighting himself. "You shouldn't have come here. I should have left you where you were." "Then why didn't you?" she asked quietly. He paused at the doorway, his back to her. "Because the moment I saw you," he said, "my wolf fell silent and my heart remembered." Before she could respond, he was gone, leaving only the echo of his confession in the cold air. That night, Amara stood at her window overlooking the hidden city. Wolves howled again in the distance, their calls threading through her veins like forgotten lullabies. Her reflection in the glass shimmered faintly, and for just a second, her eyes flashed gold. She stumbled back, heart racing. No, that's not real. But when she looked again, the gold was gone, replaced by fear, wonder, and the faintest spark of something that would soon change everything. The mansion felt quieter that night, too quiet. Amara could hear her own heartbeat echoing in the silence. She tried to distract herself by studying the strange files Theron had left on the desk. Genetic sequences, blood charts, and ancient symbols drawn beside human DNA strands. The more she looked, the more everything blurred together. She rubbed her temples. This can't be real, yet it felt real. The warmth on her wrist, the strange pull in her chest, the scent of pine that seemed to follow her everywhere, and somewhere down the hallway, his heartbeat. She didn't know how she knew, but she did. Her feet moved before her mind decided. Each step echoed against the marble until she reached a door left slightly ajar. Faint golden light spilled through the crack. She hesitated, then pushed it open. The room was filled with the low hum of machines, but they weren't human technology. Silver tubes, glowing vials, monitors showing readings she couldn't interpret. Theron stood at the center, his shirt unbuttoned halfway, revealing scars that glowed faintly under the strange light. He didn't turn when she entered. "I thought you were asleep," he said quietly. "I couldn't." She stepped closer. "You're studying something down here. Something alive." He exhaled slowly. "Curiosity will be the end of you, Amara." "Then tell me the truth," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "What are you hiding?" He finally faced her, and the look in his eyes made her breath catch. The gold burned brighter now, more wolf than man. "I'm not hiding it anymore," he said. Before she could ask, a low sound filled the room, a heartbeat but heavier, deeper, echoing through the walls. Inside one of the glass chambers, something moved. Amara's stomach twisted as she stepped closer. A creature, humanoid but wrong, lay restrained, breathing heavily, its veins pulsing with black light. "What is that?" she whispered. Theron's voice was soft. "A dying king." Her eyes widened. "You mean—" "My father," he said. "The curse started with him. Our blood began decaying centuries ago. The bond with the moon weakens each generation. We heal slower, shift harder, and soon we die like mortals." Amara turned toward him. "And you think my research can help?" "I don't think," he said, stepping closer, his gaze locking with hers. "I know. You carry something in your blood, Amara, something the goddess left unfinished." Her voice faltered. "How could you possibly know that?" "Because your scent is the same as hers," he said softly. "The woman who saved you that night. The one who begged me to hide the child. You were that child." The words cut through her like wind. "No, my mother died when I was little. I was adopted after." His expression softened, not pity, but something deeper. "The truth was never meant to find you, but blood always remembers." She stepped back, shaking her head. "This is insane. You're talking about things that don't exist." Theron closed the distance between them in 2 strides, his hand catching her wrist gently, the same place that always burned. Then why does your skin respond to mine like this? He whispered. The moment his touch met her pulse, the world seemed to tremble. The heartbeat in the chamber behind them synced with hers. The machines flickered, her breathing quickened. Theron. He looked at her, eyes full of restraint and fire. You feel it too. The pull, the bond. I don't even know you. He gave a faint smile, but his voice broke slightly when he spoke. You knew me long before you were born. Her throat went dry. You're scaring me. I should, he murmured, because if I lose control, I won't stop. The air between them thickened, heat, tension, something primal rising between logic and instinct. She wanted to step back, but her body betrayed her. Her fingers brushed his chest, the scars beneath his skin glowing faintly beneath her touch. He caught her hand, pressing it flat against his heart. Do you hear it? He asked. She did. His heartbeat was not steady. It thundered like a caged beast. I don't understand any of this, she whispered. You don't have to, he said. You just have to remember. He leaned in, his voice barely above a breath. Your blood sings to mine, Amara. It always has. Their foreheads touched. Not a kiss, not yet, but something more intimate, a silent recognition older than time itself. Then he pulled away suddenly, like he'd been burned, his jaw clenched, his eyes dimming back to human. This can't happen, he said sharply. If my council finds out who you are, they'll kill you before dawn. She stared at him. Why? Because you're not just the cure, he said. You're the curse reborn. He turned away, fists tightening. The rogue wolf who destroyed my family. His blood runs in your veins. The others will see you as a threat, but I can't. His voice broke. I can't turn against you. Amara took a shaky breath. You think I'm your enemy, and yet you... He met her gaze, eyes burning with emotion. And yet I'd die to protect you. She didn't realize tears had slipped down her cheeks until he reached out and brushed one away. His touch was careful this time, reverent. You should leave, he said softly, before the moon rises. What happens when it rises? He looked toward the chamber holding his dying father, the glow inside shifting like a warning. When the moon is full, he said, truth can't be hidden. Later that night, Amara found herself unable to sleep again. The moonlight poured through the window like liquid silver, wrapping her in its glow. Her blood hummed, her skin tingled, and somewhere deep inside, something ancient stirred, answering a call she didn't understand. From outside, she heard a howl, deep, wild, and heartbreakingly familiar. She whispered his name into the dark. Theron. And somewhere in the distance, the Alpha King lifted his head toward the moon, his wolf howling back to her, as if her voice was the only thing that still tethered him to the man he once was. The moon rose high above Hale House, painting the world in silver. It was the kind of night that made the air hum, heavy with old magic and restless hearts. Amara stood at her window again, staring at the city lights far below. From here, London looked calm, unaware that beneath its quiet streets, something ancient was stirring. Her body ached in ways she couldn't explain. Her veins felt like they carried lightning instead of blood, and every breath she took echoed with a sound she didn't understand, a faint growl, deep and alive, coming from inside her chest. She tried to tell herself it was all in her head, but then she saw her reflection. Her eyes glowed faint gold again, and this time they didn't fade. Down below, in the underground chambers, King Theron stood on the balcony overlooking his sleeping pack. The moonlight made his eyes blaze brighter than usual. He felt it, the pull of something powerful, familiar. The bond. He gripped the railing, his claws half shifting from his fingertips. No, he muttered, fighting the transformation. Not yet. But his wolf didn't listen. It could smell her. It could feel her awakening. He turned sharply and vanished into the corridors, his footsteps echoing like thunder through the ancient halls. Amara's heart pounded as the door burst open. Theron stood there, half wolf, half man, his pupils slit, his voice rough like gravel. "Stay where you are." She stumbled back. "What's happening to me?" He came closer, the air around him electric. "The moon found you," he said. "You can't fight it now." "I don't understand," she cried. "You said I was human." "You're not," he said, voice trembling. "You never were." He took her hand and placed it over his heart again, his skin hot beneath her touch. "Listen." Their heartbeats synced instantly, one rhythm, one pulse, like they were made from the same thread. She gasped, "What is this?" "Blood calls to blood," he whispered, "the bond between Alpha and Queen." Amara shook her head, tears streaming. "No, this can't." But before she could finish, pain tore through her body like fire. She fell to her knees, clutching her chest, her vision blurring. Theron caught her before she hit the floor. "Breathe, Amara. Don't fight it." Her bones felt like they were melting. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. She screamed, not in fear, but in something wild and raw, something that made the room shake. Her skin shimmered with faint light, veins glowing silver as her wolf stirred inside for the first time. Theron's voice broke. "You're awakening." The air filled with the scent of rain and thunder. Her body went still. Then slowly, she opened her eyes. They were no longer brown. They were gold, the same gold as his. Theron stared at her, chest rising and falling rapidly. "Goddess above," he whispered. "You're not just part wolf. You're royal." She blinked, disoriented. "Royal?" He nodded slowly, awe in his voice. "You carry the blood of the rogue Alpha who almost destroyed us, but you also carry mine." Her breath caught. "What?" He knelt in front of her, his hand trembling as he brushed her hair from her face. "My family swore to protect the pure bloodline. We thought it died with the war. But your mother, she carried my father's heir's mark. You are what they feared most." Her voice cracked. "What they feared?" "The child of peace between rival bloodlines," he said. "The one the prophecy said would either save us or end us." The room fell silent, except for the sound of their breathing. Theron looked torn, the king fighting the man, the wolf fighting the lover. "I should take you to the council," he said quietly. "It's law." Her eyes softened. "But you won't." He looked at her then, really looked, and his voice came out as a whisper. "No, I won't." For a long moment, they just stared at each other. The tension between them burned, sharp and undeniable. When he finally reached out, his fingers brushed her jaw gently, reverently. "You shouldn't be this beautiful," he murmured. "It makes everything harder." She smiled faintly through her tears. "I could say the same." He leaned in, just close enough for his breath to mingle with hers. The pull between them tightened until the air itself seemed to hold still. His hand slid to the back of her neck, and when he spoke, his voice trembled. "I've waited lifetimes for this moment." And then, finally, his lips met hers. It wasn't a kiss of strangers. It was recognition, a spark that ignited fire through every nerve in her body. The world outside seemed to roar, wolves howling in harmony, the moon blazing brighter than ever. When they finally pulled apart, Amara's eyes glowed again, brighter this time, and Theron's wolf bowed instinctively, heart surrendering to hers. He whispered her name like a prayer, "Amara, my queen." But the moment was short-lived. A deep horn sounded in the distance, sharp, ancient, and cold. Theron's expression changed instantly. "The council," he said, standing abruptly. "They know." "Know what?" she asked, breathless. He turned toward the window, where shadows moved in the courtyard below, armed guards with golden eyes. "They know who you are," he said, "and they're coming for you." The sound of the horn still hung in the night air when the doors of Hale House burst open. Boots struck marble, voices echoed like thunder. Amara stood frozen as wolves in human form filled the corridor, men and women in dark coats, their eyes flashing gold under the light. The Alpha Council. At their head walked a tall, gray-haired wolf with scars down his throat. His presence alone bent the air. "Your Majesty," he said coldly, bowing slightly to Theron, "you've broken the oldest law." Theron's tone was calm, but his eyes had already turned amber. "You will speak with respect." The elder's gaze slid to Amara. "The girl carries the blood of the traitor Arik. You know what that means." Amara swallowed hard, her pulse pounding. "I didn't ask for any of this." "No one ever does," the elder said, "but the law is clear. Rogue blood cannot sit beside the crown." Theron stepped forward, placing himself between her and the council. "Enough, you will not touch her. She's the reason your father lies dying," another shouted. "You endanger us all." "Then let me die with her," Theron growled. Silence fell, even the torches seemed to still. The elder shook his head slowly. "Love has made kings weak before. Don't follow their path." Theron's voice softened, yet every word cut steel. "This isn't weakness, it's truth. Her blood carries the cure your sons are begging for. You'd rather die than accept salvation from a woman you fear." The council murmured among themselves. Fear and anger bled through the air like smoke. Finally, the elder said, "If what you claim is true, then let her prove it. Bring her before the moon chamber. If she survives, she's meant to live. If not..." He didn't need to finish. Theron's jaw tightened. "You'll have your proof, but if you harm her before the moon's trial, I'll burn this council to the ground." The elder gave a faint smile. "We'll see whose fate the goddess favors." Later that night, the mansion fell into a heavy silence. The guards were gone, but Amara could still feel eyes watching her through the walls. Theron paced before the fire, the glow painting his face in shades of gold and shadow. "You shouldn't have come back into this world," he muttered. Amara rose from the sofa. "You keep saying that like I had a choice." He stopped pacing. "The goddess doesn't make mistakes, Amara. She brought you here, but I can't lose you to their superstition." She stepped closer. "Then don't fight alone." He looked at her, the alpha gone, the man remaining. "You don't understand what the moon chamber is. It exposes truth, bloodline, intent. If your heart isn't pure, it kills." Her voice trembled but didn't break. "Then we go together." He stared at her for a long moment, then exhaled and pulled her against him. His embrace was fierce, desperate. "I should be preparing for war," he whispered into her hair, "but all I want is this, one quiet moment before the world ends." She smiled faintly against his chest. "Then have it." Their lips met again, slower this time, deeper, filled with all the things they couldn't say aloud. His hand cupped her face like she was made of light, her fingers tangled in his hair like she'd been doing it for centuries. When they broke apart, the room felt different, charged, alive. Theron pressed his forehead to hers. "Tomorrow night, the moon decides. Whatever happens, you fight me, not them. Do you understand?" She nodded. "If fate brought me here, I'll face it." He smiled faintly. "That's my queen." Outside, the wind carried the sound of distant howls, some in mourning, some in defiance. Inside, they stood together in silence, two souls caught between duty and love, both knowing that when the moon rose again, one of them might not survive. The moon hung huge and white above the underground court, its light pouring through the open roof of the ancient moon chamber. Every stone shimmered with symbols that pulsed faintly, alive with old power. Amara could feel the air pressing against her skin, thick, humming, waiting. Two guards led her forward. Theron walked beside her, his face hard, his golden eyes fixed on the altar ahead. Around them, the Council of Alphas stood in a perfect circle, 13 wolves of royal blood, silent and watchful. When Amara stepped into the moonlight, the markings on the floor flared to life, silver veins spreading outward like roots searching for truth. A low voice filled the chamber. The trial begins. The elder with the scar lifted an ancient dagger, its blade carved from moonstone. Human or wolf, pure or tainted, the light will decide. Theron's growl rumbled through the chamber. Touch her, and I'll tear this place apart. The elder didn't flinch. You can't protect her from the goddess, my king. He turned to Amara. Kneel. She hesitated, but Theron's hand found hers. His voice softened. Trust me, whatever happens, don't let go. Amara knelt. Her heart thundered. The dagger rose. When the blade touched her palm, pain sliced through her, but it wasn't ordinary pain, it was memory. Images flooded her mind. A woman with the same eyes as hers, running through fire. A baby wrapped in silver cloth. A man with golden eyes swearing an oath to protect them. Her mother, Theron's father, the war, the prophecy. The ground shook as her blood fell onto the stone. The silver markings flared brighter, turning white-hot. The council gasped. Theron reached for her, but the light pushed him back. Amara's body rose from the ground, lifted by invisible hands, her hair whipped around her face, her veins glowing gold. A voice, not hers, not anyone's, echoed through the chamber. The blood of the rogue, the heart of the crown. The lost heir returns. Then silence. When she dropped to the floor, Theron was there to catch her. Her eyes snapped open, and for the first time, they weren't just gold. They were glowing with both gold and silver, swirling like two worlds meeting. The elder staggered back. It's impossible. Theron's voice shook. She's the balance. The chamber trembled again. The dying king's voice echoed from the depths below, weak but clear. The curse ends. With her. Suddenly, the torches blew out. A dark wind swept through the hall. From the shadows emerged a figure, cloaked, eyes like red embers. Not yet, the stranger hissed. Balance cannot exist while I breathe. Theron's wolf surged forward instinctively. Arik, the rogue alpha, the ghost of the one who started the war, stepped into the light, his body half shadow, half flesh. You would defy me again, nephew? Amara stood, her voice trembling but strong. You're dead. Arik smiled. Curses don't die, they evolve. He lunged. Theron caught the attack mid-air, claws clashing with shadow, sparks flying across the chamber. The wolves roared, forming a circle, but the rogue's power spread like smoke, wrapping around Amara. Your blood is mine, he snarled. Theron shouted, Amara! Call the moon. She didn't know how, until instinct took over. She closed her eyes, let the pull in her chest rise, and screamed. The moonlight burst through the roof, slamming into the chamber like a tidal wave. The silver light engulfed her, pouring into her veins, burning away the shadow. Arik's roar turned to a howl, then to silence. When the light faded, only ashes remained. Theron fell to his knees, panting. It's over, he whispered. Amara knelt beside him, touching his face. You said the truth would take something. He smiled faintly, his voice hoarse. It almost took you. Her tears mixed with his blood. You saved me. He shook his head. You saved us. Above them, the moon shifted back to its calm white glow. The council bowed one by one until every wolf had their head lowered to the woman they once feared. Theron turned to her, eyes soft, voice barely a whisper. Will you stay, Amara Johnson, daughter of two worlds, and rule beside me? She smiled through her tears. I thought you'd never ask. He pulled her close, their foreheads touching under the fading moonlight. Around them, wolves howled, not in anger, but in reverence. Morning broke slowly over London. For the first time in centuries, the underground palace of wolves stirred not with fear, but with hope. Theron stood on the balcony of the High Court, the light brushing his dark hair, the gold still faint in his eyes. Below, hundreds of wolves in human form knelt in silence. When Amara stepped beside him, wearing a cloak of silver and black, the crowd lowered their heads even further. "Your queen," Theron said, his voice echoing through the hall, "has ended the curse that chained our blood. The moon has chosen her, and by her courage, we are free." The roar that followed shook the stones, but not everyone cheered. From the back, whispers rippled like cracks in ice. "A human cannot rule. She carries the rogue's blood. The old ways are dying." Theron's hand found Amara's. "Let them whisper," he murmured. "They'll learn faster than they think." Amara squeezed his fingers, her heartbeat calm. "You really trust them?" "I trust you," he said simply. That night, they walked through the city streets above, the hidden royals blending in among humans for the first time. Amara looked at the neon lights reflected in the wet pavement. "Do you think they'd believe it? That the monsters in their stories are real?" Theron smiled faintly. "We were never monsters. Just forgotten kings." She stopped beside a small cafe, watching a couple laugh through the window. For a moment, she looked almost human again. "Sometimes I wish I could have that," she whispered. "Normal, simple." He turned toward her. "You could. I'd give it to you if I could." Amara shook her head. "You'd never survive 3 days as normal." He laughed softly, the sound warm and rare. "You might be right." The laughter faded when a shadow moved across the street, a flash of metal, a camera. Theron's instincts sharpened instantly. "Someone's watching," he murmured. The next morning, the news exploded across every channel. Strange footage, London man with golden eyes, real or digital trick, paparazzi, scientists, governments, hunters. Humans were waking up to the truth. In the council hall, tension burned thick. "This is what we feared," the elder growled. "Exposure, chaos." Theron slammed his hand on the table. "We will not hide like ghosts. If they come, we protect our own." Amara stood beside him, "And maybe we teach them that monsters aren't what they think." The elder's gaze cut to her. "You would risk war with mankind?" Amara met his stare calmly. "If they come for us, they'll find we bleed the same. Maybe that's how peace begins." Later, alone in the library, she found Theron staring at an old map of London's underground tunnels. "You're thinking of leaving," she said quietly. "I'm thinking of surviving," he replied. "If they attack the city, I need a plan to get our people out." Amara walked to him, resting a hand on his shoulder. "You don't have to face everything alone." He turned to her slowly. "I've been alone for a very long time. Until you." She smiled faintly. "Then stop being the king for a minute and just be mine." He pulled her close, his forehead resting against hers. Always. Their kiss was slow, grounding, no magic, no moonlight this time, just two hearts finding stillness before the storm. Outside, thunder rolled over London. The first strike came hours later, an explosion near the river, then sirens, then the smell of silver in the air. Amara and Theron ran to the balcony. In the distance, helicopters circled. On the rooftops, armed men in black suits moved like hunters. Theron's eyes glowed gold. "They found us." Amara's voice hardened. "Then they'll find out what it means to hunt a king." He glanced at her, a proud half-smile cutting through the tension. "My queen, you sound like war." She met his gaze, fierce and unafraid. "Then let's make them listen." The first bullet cracked the night. It hissed past Theron's shoulder and shattered a marble pillar. Silver, the smell of it burned the air. "Inside, now," he barked. Amara ducked as glass rained down. Guards, wolves in human form, shifted instantly, eyes igniting gold as they formed a shield around their king and queen. From the rooftops above, red dots of laser sights cut through the mist. Helicopters hovered like mechanical vultures over the Thames. Humans were hunting myths. In the command hall below, alarms wailed. Maps of the city glowed red with movement. Theron's beta, Lucian, slammed a fist on the table. They breached the outer tunnels. They're using sonic waves, frequencies that disrupt the shift. Clever, Theron growled. They want us trapped between man and beast. Amara studied the monitors. Then let's not give them the choice. She looked to Theron. Let me go out there. His head snapped toward her. Absolutely not. I can stop this. My blood, whatever it is, it called the moon once. Maybe it can do more. He stepped closer, hands gripping her arms, eyes fierce. I will not lose you to their bullets. You'll lose everyone if we don't end it, she said softly. You told me I was balance. Then let me be it. Their gazes locked, a storm between reason and love. Finally, Theron exhaled. You have 5 minutes, and I'm with you. They moved through the tunnels side by side. The roar of the city above was deafening. When they emerged into the open air, soldiers surrounded the square, armored, armed, eyes hidden behind glass visors. Floodlights cut across the ruins of Hale House. A voice boomed from a loudspeaker. Step away from the woman and surrender, or we open fire. Theron's wolf stirred under his skin. They think I'll hand you over. Amara stepped forward. They're afraid, Theron. Not evil. Afraid. She raised her hands. You want proof of what we are? She shouted. Then watch the truth. The moon broke through the clouds, full, white, merciless. Its light poured over her like a crown. Her body glowed faint gold and silver, veins shining like molten metal. Every wolf in the square felt it, the pull, the calm. Even the soldiers hesitated, their weapons trembling. Amara's voice carried through the chaos, soft but commanding. We bleed, we love, we live among you. You don't need to destroy what was born to protect you. A shot fired anyway. Theron moved faster than sight. The bullet grazed his side and buried itself in stone. His roar shook the ground, half human, half wolf. Wolves answered across the rooftops, their howls rising like thunder. Enough, Amara cried. She knelt beside him, pressing her glowing hand to his wound. The silver burn faded under her touch. When she looked up, her eyes were pure light. Power rushed from her into the earth, ripples of gold and silver light racing outward. The sonic machines shorted, helicopters spiraled away. The air itself bent around her will. When the light cleared, silence fell. The soldiers had dropped to their knees, not out of worship, but awe. Theron rose slowly, his wound healed. He looked at her with something like disbelief. You stopped a war. She smiled faintly. Maybe I just reminded them we're all alive. Dawn crept over London hours later. Smoke drifted where the fires had been, but peace, fragile and new, hung in the air. Theron stood on the palace balcony, watching the sun touch the city. Amara came to his side, barefoot, hair loose, eyes soft. He reached for her hand. You've changed everything. So have you, she whispered. You let love rule a kingdom built on fear. He smiled. Then maybe it's time to rebuild it on something stronger. What's that? He turned to her, his thumb brushing her cheek. Us. The city below stirred awake, unaware that 2 souls, one born of science, one of moonlight, had rewritten its fate. Theron kissed her slowly, the first rays of sunrise catching in their eyes, gold and silver, one heart, one reign. The war of shadows was over, but their legend had just begun. They were never meant to meet, yet destiny made them king and queen of 2 worlds. If you felt their story, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and stay for what comes after, because every ending hides another beginning.